Hi Anuj, and thanks for joining us. And what about you?
Hello. Yes, I'm also good. So, hello, Aarsh.
Hmm.
What's happening right now? How's
Yes,
there? How's, how's the weather?
yeah, weather is pretty much fine here, and a lot of raining because I'm in Gujarat, so in Gujarat we have a lot of rain.
Right.
And
That's true. Like I'm in Bhopal campus right now, so it's
hmm,
pretty like quite good weather, I'll
yeah,
say.
hmm,
So yeah,
yeah, and first of all, congratulations for cracking a good and placement opportunity that is when you have been made into the Microsoft.
right. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, so we
Right,
will be coming to that. How was your means complete process of getting into the Microsoft?
right. Before I say like I will just try to first of all I will introduce myself to
Hmm.
like for everyone here.
Yeah.
So hello to all. My name is Anuj Singh, and currently I'm pursuing my bachelor's in technology from VIT Bhopal University in stream computer science engineering, AI and ML. And so recently I gave the examination of Microsoft, and I've been selected for intern as well as a full time engineer role.
Hmm.
And I will be joining Microsoft in next year as an intern
Hmm.
in January to June, and then the full time. So this is about me, and while discussing about this thing, that how I prepared particularly. So the journey starts back in 1 year.
Hmm.
In 2021, I gave the Microsoft examination for the internship for the summer intern 2022,
Hmm.
and that was the first time when I was giving any particular competitive examination regarding the companies. And I will say till that time I didn't knew about DSA, CP, like I didn't knew about anything at all, and I was just like a just doing bunch of things because there was pandemic too, so it was
Yeah.
very hard to understand like, what to do.
Hmm.
Like you have to do some projects or you have to do some hobbies, but कितना करना है क्या करना है
Hmm.
something like this. But so I was kind of confused, but I was all ready to give the examination. So when I sat for the examination,
Hmm.
and I was like legit mind blown when I saw the question paper, and
Hmm.
I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
ये तो मेरे को आता ही नहीं है. This is not the way how it is all going to work.
Hmm.
And then that was the, I will say, the trigger moment when everything, the whole process started.
Hmm.
And yes, this is true that Microsoft is was my and still is still my, like, the ideal company, the best kind of company that I prefer.
Hmm.
And this thing was set in my mind when I saw the question paper that next year I have to do it. Anyhow, I have to do it. So I started preparing. I started with the DSA using a few of the platforms such as Elite Code and GFG,
Yeah.
and there are some other platform too. But I usually preferred these two
Hmm.
just to practice the DSA part. And later, after I would say 2 or 3 months after starting the DSA, then I started with the competitive programming through CodeChef,
Hmm.
and then I started to realize because that was giving me a kick in my life. So
Hmm.
I was really impressed with all the type of question that though in the CodeChef they have, and the weekly competition. So it started giving me the potential. I started exploring the potential that was within me.
Hmm.
So it was a very good journey after all because I solved around, I will say, 600 DSA problems, just particularly in the lead code. And if I just try to count it overall, then it will be more than 1,000 problems that I did till now. So
Yeah. It is an
it was quite
amazing.
a journey with DSA and CP, right?
Hmm.
Yes, so it was my DSA journey.
Yeah. And then further on, then how did you means work upon your projects and like that way?
Right. Right. So yes, this is true that whenever you're sitting for any slot when companies, particularly if I talk about VIT
Hmm.
and even any super dream type company, let's talk about like Microsoft,
Hmm.
Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, D Shaw,
Visa.
Pfizer, any company if I talk about, you, it is recommended that your resume must have some good projects in it.
Hmm.
If I mean what I mean by the good project is that it can be related to any type of tech, either it's web development or app development, game development. It could be of any type. It does not matter. But the thing that matters is how much knowledge you are having of that thing. Like for example, I'm particularly a backend developer. Whenever I have done 3 academic projects now, and there are many minor and personal projects. So if I particularly talk about this academic project, all the project that till now I have done are the bootstrap one, meaning I started with them like without getting any previous knowledge. I just started with the bootstrap thing, and then I started learning like what is this, and language is not a barrier after all.
Yeah.
Because whenever you're doing any type of project, you must be very flexible with whatever type of language it will be having. But there is just one thing: you must know how the architecture of your project works, because it is not just related to your project only, but it is important for your interviews too. Because whenever you will be sitting in the interview, usually why this is said that your project must be there, good project must be there in the resume, because the interviewers usually target what type of architecture or what type of technology your project was having, and they try to see that if you have did something or not. And because you cannot expect that they will be asking just simply oops there, that okay, tell me about 4 pillar of oops. No, this is not how things work. They just try to check like how good the architecture this person can get. And especially if I talk about Microsoft, it is usually said that there are 3 interviews that usually takes, and the first 2 interview takes the DSA part, and the third one particularly targets the system design and the HR round. And what do I mean by the system design is basically a low level design where you have to create a coding architecture, basically architecture using the programming skills, where you should implement OOPS with a full-fledged language is not a barrier after all. So it's very okay with this thing. And in my case, there were 3 interviews, and in the whole 3, it was system design interview.
Yeah.
The whole 3 interview, like I just only went through only 1 DSA problem, but there were 3 system design problem. And these, you must know what a system design problem is. For example, if I give you designing a chess game, designing a chess game is a system design problem. And I will say if somebody is preparing for it, then at least you must have done something related to these minor type of project. For example, building creating a clone of some booking app, like seat booking app, or maybe I will say like designing a chess game or Sudoku game, or like something similar.
Yeah, any type of clone, any Amazon clone or Netflix clone, any of a clone.
Exactly. Like you must be familiar with the architecture.
This is and complete knowledge about it, that how you need to do it.
Right. Exactly.
And one more point I would be at that we should be, when we are learning, we should be keep on practicing, and we should be try to build some of an one project so that we can get idea also about it.
Exactly, like peer to peer, like working, and like it is not just about getting the idea of what is happening in the project, or even if you are solving a DSA problem, you should understand it with the core, so that once you have done, so then whenever next time you will be like just getting a flash of it, you must know like what was happening, and you must have an idea of it. Like it is not like you have just done it, now it is aside and you have just forgot it. No, you must know what you have done. So this is an important thing.
Yeah. And what do you mean by peer programming? Means peer programming is also much helpful. So is it much helpful, or someone should try and experience it?
Yes. So I will say that even though there was a situation, the pandemic situation there, and we didn't had a lot of this peer programming whenever we in the lockdown. But yes, whenever we had time, whenever I had time with few of my friends, as well as there were some juniors along with me in the Bhopal campus itself. So we used to hold this Google Meet, and we used to do this peer programming, like where we just put some question there and we try to discuss it among ourselves, because this helps in expanding our knowledge. Like we get to know like what is the perspective of other person also, and this is a very good thing, because in the real world when you will be facing some real issue. This is true that you have to understand some problems with others' perspective too. Like you are dealing some client, right?
Hmm.
And if you cannot understand your client right, then it is not the way how things work. You must understand others' perspective as well. That's why I will say that peer programming is one of the very good tactics through which you can improve your way of working,
Hmm.
and it will really help you afterwards. That's for sure.
Yeah, and if one person also gets stuck, then other can help him, and he wouldn't
Exactly.
feel
Totally.
demotivated when he would be not doing so. Yeah, peer
Exactly.
programming is
Exactly.
one of the best thing.
And that's true. That because usually in the engineering years, this is very true that students get demoralized
Hmm.
often because this is a very high time, right? If I
Yeah.
say that, because you have to understand whether the path that you are choosing, the way, the thing that you are going to get with is going to be beneficial in the future or not. And yes, this is very true that it is a kind of a risk that you have to take. But yes, because you are an engineer,
Hmm.
it is believed that you must be ready to take any type of risk, and just don't be afraid.
Yeah.
If you are just practicing something, practice that maybe the result will not be shown very early
Hmm.
at the stage. But
Yeah.
yes, if you just keep practicing, if you are just focusing on your good, you're good, not for like any competitive sake, but for your own benefits as well as improvement, then I will surely say that the result will be there.
Hmm.
Result and positive results will be there.
Yeah.
So believe in the process and believe in yourself.
Hmm. And that how was your complete process? Means you got a mail from CDC that Microsoft is going to come to the R campus. Then you applied, and
Right.
then how it was your process?
Right. So I will just brief you about the complete process.
Hmm.
So usually in the month of July, in the VIT particularly, a lot of smartphone companies arrive, and
Hmm.
Microsoft was among the first one that comes very early.
Hmm.
And I will say it was around July 5th. I will say that when we saw that Microsoft is here, and with a good package of 46 LPA, and with a SWE role, and
Hmm.
with internship and full time role. So
Okay.
all we have to do is just apply for it. There are two ways to apply, but in Microsoft, what we have to do is we have to fill the Google form. But
Hmm.
usually, what we have to do in general is there's a CDC platform for the whole 4 campuses. We have to go in the CDC platform, and if your criteria sits, because there are certain eligibility criteria that you have to set. For example, 70% in 10th and 12th, and 7 CGPA minimum. Like this is just an example.
Hmm.
If you have set all criteria, then you can simply apply for the job.
Yeah.
So in Microsoft particularly, we have to fill a Google form along with where we have to put our achievements to, like what we have achieved till now.
Hmm.
The next thing was the shortlisting. So I will say that it took around 5 days or like a week, I will say, where when we got the shortlist,
Hmm.
and we saw that there were around like 800 students, those who were shortlisted for the examination particularly.
Hmm.
And the examination was set for next in another 2 day, I will
Okay.
say. Rest, yes, if I fairly remember it, it was yes after 2 days after we got the shortlist, and then we after 2 days we set for the exam, and usually in Vellore and Chennai campus, people have to sit in the uh, labs and auditorium, as well as in the Bhopal too, because we had a specific labs there here.
Okay.
And many people, there was few students who sit for the virtual part, and then we have to give the examination. After the examination, in next 2 or 3 days, we got the shortlist, that the people who were shortlisted from the examination.
Hmm.
And the very next day we had interviews set it up, and max usually it takes only 1 day to finish the interviews,
Hmm.
but sometimes it can take say, like 2 days, because there are 3 rounds, and interviewers might get very late for the interviews too. So it's okay, like maximum 2 days.
Hmm.
And for the result, you have to wait like until the CDC teams
Okay.
announce the result. So yes, this was a complete process.
So your interview was conducted means on campus, or it was conducted as
Right.
virtually?
So for the whole 4 campuses, I guess it was a virtual. It was a virtual interview. So like we have to use this Teams app.
Okay.
There was a Teams meeting set it up for all the shortlisted people, and we have to go through like like there was a same link for the whole 3 round, and they were just like CDC team itself announced it. The people who just get to the next round, they just announce it that
Okay.
this people, like for example for me, it was like Anuj Negi round 2 and at this time, so
Mm-hmm.
that I have to just prepare for it. Like we always like I will say we have to stick with the campus till like for more than 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I was there in the campus for more than like 12 hours just to see like when will be my next round.
Yeah.
And like for my other friends, the say it completed within the same day, but for me it took another day too. So I'll say it was quite a hectic process, but yes, it was totally worth it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And means what was a certain criteria that if a higher CGPA then there is an advantage, or if maintaining a decent CGPA will be also okay. What do you think?
Right. So I'll say the CGPA do also plays a good role
Hmm.
because for the Microsoft it was a eligibility criteria was 8 CGPA, but I'll say because there are a lot of people, right,
Yeah.
and you have to shortlist a few people among them. So it is I guess CGPA do play a crucial role, and if, as per my suggestion, I will say if somebody is having a CGPA of above 8.5, then please try to maintain it
Hmm.
because it will be a very beneficial one. Even if not, then try to at least maintain above 8 because
Yeah.
it is really important for the other companies' perspective too.
Hmm.
So this, and if you are already above 9, then congratulations, you have to just maintain it till the end, and that will be really really beneficial.
Hmm. Hmm.
And but yes, there are other factors too as well. For example, the achievements you have did till now, how better you perform in like there are few exams that happens before the placements, and if you do really good in those mock exams, mock papers, I will say. Um, then there's a certain good chance that you will get shortlisted too because you are just performing good, right?
Yeah.
And of course, everyone will want that this is a good person. Yes, this must be shortlisted. This person must be shortlisted.
Hmm. So can
Right.
you means if I'm in a third year, then what would suggestion you would give that what should I do to crack in a Microsoft or other top of the MNC? So what would be a roadmap
Right.
suggested by you? Because
Right.
I think that
So,
here.
but right. Yes, I got your question right, and
Hmm.
this thing that I will be particularly talking about will be targeting the third year student,
Yeah.
those who are in the third year. So, if you're in third year, and even if you have did something, or if you have not did something, if you feel like you have not done, I will still say you have good time. You have enough time to get started with. Get started with DSA first. You have many platforms, for example, LeetCode, Algo Expert, InterviewBet. There are many good platforms where you can just get started with your DSA part, and don't just get restricted with particular language that you're just being confused about like, which language should I choose. There are
Hmm.
basically there are three main good languages that I will say you can choose of. C++, Java, and Python.
Okay.
And if you think you're comfortable with Python, then just go with Python. Don't worry about what other people say.
Hmm.
And if you're comfortable with Java, same goes for the CPP. If you are just comfortable with it, just go with it. But you have to learn DSA. So the first thing will be to learn DSA. If you have done, I'll say 100, 200 questions, then then just for once, at least you can just try the CP problems.
Yeah.
CP problem which are present in majorly Code Chef and Code Forces. If
Hmm.
you can do this, then at least it will give you a sense of competitiveness, and you can understand what type of competitive questions do actually comes in the paper like big company, giants placement companies.
Hmm.
So I will say that just DSA and CP first. And if you have done some projects, then it's really good. You have to just brush up those skills that you have done in your project, and don't be very specific with all the core subjects. I will say that just try to maintain the operating system, like
Hmm.
particular OS and
OS.
DBMS, on a good scale. That if somebody asks you, it is not that you have to just learn the complete. You must know the complete definition of it. But if even if you know a few things of it, then
Hmm.
it will be enough. And
Yeah.
you must know some glimpse, like you just don't leave it particularly, but for majorly focus on DSA and a bit of CP. And if you have not done any project till now, I will highly recommend you that when in your sixth semester, at
Hmm.
least try to do one good project, one or
Yeah.
two good projects, and please do it, because
Hmm.
it is really important with perspective of your resume as well. And because when you will be sitting for the good companies there, they will be looking at your projects. That's why it
Hmm.
is really important. And one last thing, if somebody have not did any type of internship, you don't have to worry about this thing,
Hmm.
because either you must have done some good projects or you must have done internship. These two criteria sets enough to be eligible for some good companies. It is not mandatory one that you must have done any particular internship. I have not done any good internship in very big giant companies till now, and yes, I'm selected for this. So
Yeah.
because of my projects. So yeah, if anyone have not done it, please do it.
Yeah, means a project will be playing a major role, and try to have one or two projects, then it will be okay now.
Exactly, exactly, and do focus on DSA part. It is
Hmm.
really important.
And does the Microsoft come for other profile job roles?
Uh, Till now, I really don't think so. Like, I guess there is one more role, but I'm really not sure of it, because I just heard it from, like, some senior. I don't know whether it's just a saying or not. Like, let's not try to particularly go to this part. But yes, please, like, just target your one thing. That if you are going for a SWE role,
Hmm.
then it might be very beneficial after all, in every perspective, because you're an engineer after all.
Hmm.
So yes, so just think that Microsoft comes for just one single role.
Yeah.
So
So
at
once
the
you
start
did,
of the year.
so means a majority of the companies will be coming for software developer role.
Yes, exactly. Software development, or maybe data analyst.
Hmm.
So these two are the major roles.
Yeah, and if you wanted to try for other role, then you might have to look from an off-campus placement.
Yes, I will say yes. That if you are looking for some additional roles, for example, I guess product management is one of the another role that usually bachelor student do prefer, and you, because you're doing a bachelor in technology, right? So usually companies do not offer you directly this product management role, and you should try it offline, I will
Hmm.
say.
Yeah.
But yes, if you are targeting for data analyst or a quality testing engineer or a software developer, software engineer or software developer,
Hmm.
then yes, these are the few roles for which the companies do come. And but for the product, yes, you have to look through the external sources.
Yeah, and you must be also having certain skills also for that role.
Right, right. Yes, exactly, exactly. Like there are
Yeah.
certain skills related to that.
Okay. And one more thing that what would be few of an suggestion that how you can prepare well in interview rounds?
Yeah, right. Okay, so uh, see, I will say that for the interview rounds particularly,
Hmm.
one very really important thing that you should have is your communication skills.
Hmm.
It does not matter whether what type of language that you're using there, because usually they are really comfortable with any type of language that you use. If you're just going to say, "Ki, sir, can I use? Can I just communicate in Hindi?" Then it's really fine. They will say, "Yes, that's okay." Like they are, they just see what is your approach, like
Hmm.
how you actually think, what is your logical thinking.
Hmm.
Actually works when the real type of problem comes. So they really target that part. So first of all, have good communication skills. Try to use your peers that they must ask you some question, and then you can do it on a real time, so that it can be really comfortable with your friends, and then so that you can perform there very good.
Hmm.
And good knowledge of DSA, as well as the logical thinking that I've already said. That if you're very comfortable with all the project that you have done, then yes, you're going to perform really well. And just DSA, you must have at least good knowledge and good approach to DSA.
Hmm.
So DSA, communication skills, and the development part, right? So these three other things for which you should target the interviews
Okay.
particularly.
Hmm.
And if somebody have already prepared for it, I would say just be very confident. Don't be overconfident,
Yeah.
but confident enough, and smile.
Hmm.
Just smile and be very be
Relate.
very interactive with the other person. Be
Hmm.
interactive because that is the only benefit that will give you just benefit points, right?
Hmm.
These
Yeah,
are
and one more thing that there was an aptitude round for you or just a direct.
no, there was like for Microsoft, I'll say there
Hmm.
wasn't any aptitude round. There
Hmm.
were just straight two coding question that we have to do in 80 minutes, 80 or 85 minutes that we have to do these two
Hmm.
questions, and these the both questions were I cannot directly tell you about the questions, but yes, they were. I will say that whatever the topics they were related to, they were related to the arrays, and they did require uh, competitive programming aspects that
Yeah.
you must do in very good complexities.
Hmm.
So yes, and time as well. Like yes, I just remember one more thing. Yes, for particularly Microsoft do takes the examination in this Codility platform,
Hmm.
and what it do is they will just simply it will be like a normal editor, and you will be having the questions here, and then you have to write the code in any languages. There's not any barrier with the language, but there's just one thing. There are only few test cases that are present there. There are no hidden test cases that is shown to you. Not even the hidden test cases are there present so that you
Hmm.
can understand it whether your answer is right or not.
Hmm.
uh, there you can check your code with custom test cases, and the original answer of those custom test cases you do will not be present there, so you have to take this risk.
Hmm.
And once you submit your code, you cannot resubmit it.
Hmm.
Like it will only submit for once. So just be prepared. Those will be giving the examination that you just get only one chance to submit your code.
Hmm.
So before you submit, think completely about whatever the code you have did. And yes, because at that time I will say that competitive programming do plays a good role at that point because you have to be really confident
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
question.
And how would you rate the question? It was easy, medium, or hard?
Right. So I will say that because I'm a competitive programmer and I'm a four-star coder in CodeChef.
Hmm.
So I will say, on my perspective, they were very quite an easy questions. I will say that if you have done a good amount of question, like for example 100 200 questions in lead code,
Hmm.
I would say you will be able to do those questions very easily. But yes, sometimes it has also happened that there are some really tough questions like which are based on graph. I will say that like there's no particular no fixed pattern to those questions, but usually what you can expect is there is always a one easy question and the another question can vary.
Yeah.
Can vary, like either it can be a very medium type or it can be a hard type,
Hard type.
but most of the time it is usually around easy and medium, like
Hmm.
one easy and one can be either easy or medium. So
Hmm.
right, so I will say these were the level of those questions.
Yeah, and you are means practicing continuously different type of questions, or you just
uh,
did it once and then left it, or
See,
how you do?
right. So I will say that when I started this DS and all, so I started it with very force. I will say that because I had this thing in my mind that I have to do. Like this is my target. I have to like achieve some good placements there, and like I have to perform in good competitions. So
Hmm.
I started with this thing. But when I started with all the DS type question in the even in the CP, it started giving me a good, like I'll say that chills. That chills. That I was really happy when I used to do those questions. Like it was my daily motivation
Hmm.
that I have to do some question. Even now, even
Yeah.
after like I've been selected for the Microsoft, I still do those questions on a daily basis because I like them. So
Hmm.
I won't say that there were some particular topics that I followed, but yes, there were enough questions that I did because 600 is a very good number,
Yeah, it
and in
is good.
600, like I try to. I'll say, uh, put a lot of topic in my bag, right? Arrays done,
Hmm.
strings done, graph done, linked list, like just name the topic. I've done most of those topics. So yes, uh, you must have a good knowledge of certain topics as well. So just practice those questions, and yes, arrays and strings are really important. So focus on that, those two particularly.
Yeah, and how much long time you had been practicing? Means from when did you start your preparation?
All right. So I started back in September, last year September. So
Hmm.
it's not very long ago when I started with the DSA and all. Yes, if one thinks on one perceives to achieve your
Yeah.
goals, then you certainly you can do, because all you have to do is just bring up good motivation to just crack such exam, or not just crack, just to practice,
Hmm.
right?
So you are doing from 1 year and means
Right.
consistently you are doing. So you are means habituated with that you
Right,
need to do one
exactly.
and one.
Yes, like it's been like around 11 months, 10 or 11 months
Hmm.
since when I started, and yes, it is a part of my habit now, a daily habit.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah. And would you look for any other offer better than this offer, or what you will be thinking on it?
so if I be very honest, I will say no, because Microsoft is one of my dream company that I have targeted to. I won't say not even I targeted for the Google, because if whenever I just seek other people, they're just saying that they have to crack the Google and all. I'll say yes, these are some good companies, yes, but yeah. I have some attachment with Microsoft in particular, so I'll say I won't be looking for some other another offer. And yes, in VIT, if you have already cracked any sort one companies or any super dream
Super.
company, then you cannot sit for other companies. There is a hierarchy that first slot one, and then super dream, uh, dream, and then regular.
Hmm.
And if you are going to do good in slot one, then you cannot sit for other. If you are
Yeah.
going to do in super dream, then you can sit for the slot one,
Hmm.
but not for the below ones. Because this is very general, right?
Yeah,
Like
it
if you are
is.
getting a package of 16 or 18 LPA, then why would you sit up for 10 LPA, right? So
Hmm.
yes, so this is true. But I'm not going to take any another offer.
Yeah, and if you haven't been done into the Microsoft, then what you would be doing?
Uh, all right. I will say I won't. I might not have been here. I will definitely say this thing, because that was a very great kick in my life.
Hmm.
And but yes, I will say that I would have done something like maybe not Microsoft. I will say it, but because I got a very. I will say that timing was very right.
Hmm.
I will say
Yeah.
that time, like luck and hard work,
Hmm.
those two do plays equal, not equal, but at least I was like 70-30 role, 70 hard work and 30 luck. Luck do really matters. So don't, if you have done a lot of hard work, and if you think that you're not getting any good thing, this you can just be very okay with this fact that yes, it can be a luck, you deserve somewhere better than that, so it's okay. Luck do matters as well. So I will say if it would have not been that time that Microsoft I have not given that, I wouldn't be here.
Hmm.
uh, I would say this is the thing.
Yeah, means you was working consistently and hardworking, so you would be definitely made it to it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and any advice for our audience? What do you advise you?
Yes. So I will say, uh, work, like if even if you're doing hard work, try to do it in a very smart way, and always have that consistency. You don't have to put a number of hours to just get into some concept or and all. If
Hmm.
you're not getting any concept, that's okay. Don't give it a lot of time in it, because it's okay to learn,
Hmm.
right? Always have a mindset of learning, rather than just getting into like no, I have to do it just myself only. No, you must have a mindset of learning, and this is how you will survive in the real world too. Have the mindset of learning, and be very consistent, because even if you are in the third year, either in the second year, be very consistent, and have the competition with yourself, rather
Hmm.
than having competition with others.
Others.
Have the competition with yourself and improve yourself.
Hmm.
Praise yourself, improve yourself. And some yes, this can also happen that you can get demotivated at times. At that time, just uh, try to mark some dates. Try to mark some dates, uh, that when you will see those dates, you will understand how much growth you have did from that date to till current, right?
Hmm.
So this will give you a sort of motivation that yes, you're doing something right in your whole journey, and you must continuously do it. And yes, result will be really positive if you just keep your consistency. So
Hmm.
that's all for the audience, and
Yeah,
all the
means,
best.
yeah. And one should have a learning approach in your life. Whatever things you can learn it and then apply it. Yeah, so always have
Exactly.
a
Yes.
learning approach.
A learning mindset can always lead to some great results.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, then that's pretty much wrapping up. And thanks,
Correct.
Anuj, coming for you.
Okay. Thank you, Ash. Okay. Bye, to all.
Bye.
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string.